안녕하십니까. 외과학교실 리서치 세미나 시작하도록 하겠습니다. 잘 들리시나요? 2022년 11월 21일 리서치 세미나 발표는 갑상선 내분비외과 강사 두 분 선생님이 준비해 주셨습니다. 첫 번째는 강선민 선생님께서 준비하고 발표 이후에 질문 있으시면은 인터넷 상에서 질문해 주시고요. 두 번째 발표는 이강희 선생님이 준비하셨습니다. 강선민 선생님 발표 이제 준비한 거 시작하셔도 되겠습니다.
Good morning. I'm Song-Min Kang, Clinical Fellow of Division of Endocrine Surgery in Severance Hospital. Thank you for the opportunity to present. Today, I'll be presenting on the large thyroid nodule larger than 4 cm with benign cytology need surgery. The thyroid nodules are commonly observed, and clinically palpable giant nodules are observed in between 4 to 7 of cases. Thanks to the development of imaging techniques such as ultrasonography, CT, and MR, the prevalence of thyroid nodules has been increased. And in particular, the diagnosis rate of thyroid nodules in adults under ultrasonography reached 17 to 67% as a reference. Most of the thyroid nodules show benign findings, but the prevalence of malignant nodules has been observed to increase rapidly in recent years. In general, the evaluation of thyroid nodules is evaluated according to clinical procedures such as the patient history, physical examination, serum thyroid hormone level, cervical ultrasonography, and FNAB. The extent of thyroid resection is determined by clinical risk factors such as family history, cervical irradiation history, imaging findings, size, cytology, and molecular marker test result. In addition, the patient preference and the presence of nodules in contralateral lobe and accompanying medical conditions like Graves' disease can also be affected. Ultrasonography is an effective test for thyroid nodules, and in many countries around in the world, nodules are evaluated according to an objective imaging reporting system. In Korea, K-TRAS published in 2016 is used for clinical treatment. As you can see, each risk is classified according to the shape and echogenicity of the thyroid nodule, and fine needle biopsy is recommended according to the size of the nodule. Ultrasonography guided fine needle biopsy can be performed easily, has a high sensitivity and specificity of over 90%, and is the most reliable diagnostic tool for detecting thyroid nodular malignancy with a low false negative rate under 5% and minimal complications. In 2007, using the Bethesda system, each nodule category was divided into stages from non-diagnostic to malignancy. According to the Bethesda system, the expected incidence of malignancy in cytological benign nodules is under 3%. However, in large nodules, the false to negative rate and the risk of malignancies increases, which has been raised question. Here is some studies. The size of the thyroid nodule was associated with the risk of malignancy. In addition, for thyroid nodules larger than 4 cm, some studies show a false negative result of 8 to 30%, suggesting surgery or at least intensive follow-up as the most appropriate options. On the other hand, some studies suggested that there is no significant relationship between diameter and malignancy risk, and that surgery should be withheld for large nodules with benign FNAB findings. This is the meta-analysis study performed in 2018. Although the rate of malignancy and false negative result varied in FNAB result, the differences were not greater in large nodules in most studies. It was said that there is no need for immediate surgical resection when a large thyroid nodule is found to be cytologically benign. Although many studies showed no difference, between small and large nodules with respect to false negatives of FNAB, many clinicians recommend surgical resection for nodules larger than 4 cm due to an increased risk of malignancy and increased false negative rate, even when the FNAB result is benign. According to the 2015 ATA guidelines, no further diagnosis or treatment is required for cytological benign nodules. However, the guidelines specify uncertainty as to whether the risk of malignancy is higher than that of small nodules, even if the size of the nodule is larger than 4 cm and benign cytology, and whether it should be managed differently from patients with small nodules. These inconsistent clinical guidelines for managing large nodules can lead to unnecessary surgery and cost and increase morbidity to patients. So, therefore, in this study, to examine the feasibility of this approach, we investigated the incidence of malignancy in thyroid nodules larger than 4 cm with benign cytology based on our medical records in our study center. This is method. From January 2017 to August 2022, we retrospectively reviewed patients who underwent thyroidectomy at our hospital. During this period, 17,005 surgeries were performed, of which 452 were nodules larger than 4 cm. The excluding cases with suspected lesions other than nodules like node metastasis and distant metastasis and other suspicious nodules, then 358 cases was classified. And among them, non-diagnostic group and above category 4 groups as suspicious groups were excluded too. Finally, 259 patients with cytology benign and atypical with larger than 4 cm were included. The statistical analysis was performed with SPSS version 26, and it was significantly interpreted at p-value under 0.05. This is the result. This is the patient character. Average age was 45.6 years old. Male to female sex ratio was about 1 to 4. The family history of thyroid cancer was 11.2%. Almost patients showed symptoms of palpable neck mass. Therefore, in addition to these symptoms, 28.6% in 74 patients complained of breathing difficulty or pain or discomfort symptoms due to the neck mass. The size of the nodule was found to be an average size of 52 millimeter on preoperative ultrasonography. In the final pathology report, the average size was 50.2 millimeter, and the malignancy prevalence was 45.9%. On the preoperative ultrasonography, 88.4% showed benign features and 1.5% suspicious feature. There were 14 cases in the total thyroidectomy performed. According to the patient report, according to the pathology report, malignancy was found in 45.9%. In the cytology benign group, the cytology benign and intermediate classified groups on FNAB were compared again. There was no significant differences between both groups except for the ultrasonography features. They show similar average values by gender and gender age, in the family history and symptoms, surgical extent, and size of ultrasonography and pathology report. The prevalence of malignancy was 38.9% in the benign group and 55.5% in the intermediate group. And they sequentially increased in more suspicious groups, but there was no significant difference in status. According to the pathology report, malignancy was found in 45.9%. In the cytologic groups, cytologic benign groups, 38.9%, and in the intermediate group, 55.5% were confirmed in malignancy. Among benign pathology, adenomatous hyperplasia and follicular adenoma were highest in order. In cytologic benign groups, the 58 cases malignancy, and 36 PTCs, and 11 follicular carcinoma, 1 Husserl cell carcinoma, and 5 poorly differentiated thyroid carcinomas. In the intermediate group showed 55.5% malignant prevalence, total 61 malignancy, and 39 PTCs, 1 follicular carcinoma, and 4 Husserl cell carcinoma, and 2 poorly differentiated carcinoma. In the benign groups, among 36 PTCs, the 30 cases was follicular variant, 1 oncocytic variant, and 11 follicular carcinoma, and the 4 poorly differentiated carcinoma, among them the 4 cases with follicular carcinomas. In the intermediate group, among the 39 PTCs, 31 is follicular variant and 3 cases solid variant. And 2 of poorly differentiated carcinoma, the 1 case reported with in association with anaplastic carcinomas. Among the 258 cases, the final pathology results were divided into benign and cancer groups. And there was no significant differences in gender, age, family history, symptoms, size, and preoperative ultrasound findings. Considering tumor size as a risk factor for thyroid malignancy remains controversial. Although there are several reports that increased size is not an independent factor predicting malignancy. Many other reports have concluded that the large size actually leads to an increased risk of malignancy. Then a surgical recommendation is necessary regardless of the preoperative cytology result. Although ultrasound-guided FNAB has demonstrated excellent diagnostic performance, but there are limitations in the diagnosis of follicular tumor, such as reliance on the skill of the operator and interpretation of cytologist. False negative result due to incorrect sampling from small nodules, and several recent studies have shown similar result in that the prevalence of malignancy is higher in large thyroid nodules, with false negative ranging from 13 to 50%. We researched for similar studies in our database. This study was published at the radiology department of our hospital in 2011 on the diagnostic accuracy of FNAB on the sonography for nodules larger than 3 cm in 661 patients from February 2002 to December 2006. At that time, as a conclusion, reported on the high effectiveness of FNAB on the guided sonography due to the low false negative rate and high diagnosis rate in large nodules than 3 cm. Among the study design, 446 cases did not perform surgery. Only 206 people performed surgery because of a protruding neck mass or the organ displacement symptoms. 446 non-surgical patients was evaluated by repeated FNAB result in mean interval 30.1 months. Among the 206 cases of surgery, only 112 cases were cytologic benign. Of these, 2 cases appeared as malignant, so 1.8% false negative rate was reported in the study. In conclusion, the final histopathologically diagnosis of 206 patients who underwent surgery was the sensitivity 96.7, specificity 85.9, ppv 76.6, MPV 98.2, and the accuracy was 89.4. The false negative rate was only 1.8. It seems that there was a selection bias in the study design for the non-surgical groups. When the same design is converted in our study, sensitivity was 78.3, specificity 59.8, ppv 77.9, MPV 60.4, accuracy was 71.8. This is other studies. A similar study was conducted at Gangnam Severance Endocrine Surgery Department in 2021. As a retrospective study on 103 nodules larger than 4 cm with benign findings on FNAB from January 2010 to August 2014. The malignancy prevalence was 40% among 103 cases. 40 cases was reported in cancer with nodules larger than 4 cm with category 2 on FNAB. And the pathologic distribution showed similar result with ours. In the order of PTC follicular variant, 63% and follicular carcinoma, 20% among malignancies. FNAB is the most useful test when the cytologic diagnosis is classic PTC, but it has limitations in the diagnosis of follicular or oncocytic neoplasm and follicular variant of PTC. In this study, except for convention type PTCs and NIFTP, follicular carcinoma and variant were found in about 83% of the cytologic benign groups. And 62.8% of the intermediate group was confirmed. The FNAB had a high false negative rate in patients with thyroid nodules larger than 4 cm in benign cytology. These nodules exhibit the same follicular growth patterns found in follicular thyroid carcinoma and Hurst cell carcinoma and follicular variant of PTCs. So FNAB had a high false negative rate in patients with thyroid nodules larger than 4 cm, even in benign cytology. These nodules exhibit this study showed that there may be limitations in the accurate diagnosis of benign cytology, thyroid nodules larger than 4 cm. Therefore, if these findings are present, diagnostic surgery may be considered as an option for treatment. Thank you for your attention.
네, 강사님 발표 감사합니다. 강사 선생님들 발표 이후에 평가표를 제가 전체 채팅창에 올렸으니 선생님들 이따가 나가시기 전에 한 번씩 확인해 주시길 바라고요. 강성민 선생님 발표에 대한 질문과 코멘트 있으시면 부탁드리겠습니다.
강남 세브란스 이용상입니다. 혹시 질문해도 되나요?
네, 교수님 말씀하십시오.
이거는 한국말로 해도 되는 거죠?
네, 가능합니다.
네, 감사합니다. 영어도 좋았고 발표 감사합니다. 세 가지 질문이 있는데, 네, 첫 번째는 4cm 이상이지만 비나인일 경우에 수술을 했던 이유가 있을 겁니다. 그거에 대한 디스크라이브가 없어서 그게 하나가 그거를 추가하면 좋을 것 같다는 게 의견이고요. 두 번째는 질문은 전체적으로 보면은 지금 제목에서는 with benign, cytologic benign nodule이라고 돼 있긴 한데 분석한 내용을 보면은 카테고리 3 우리가 메데스타 시스템 카테고리 3에 들어있는 indeterminated nodule까지도 포함을 해서 분석을 한 것 같습니다. 아마도 멜리그넌시 리스크가 많이 올라간 게 indeterminated nodule에서 나왔을 가능성이 꽤 높은데요. 제목을 with large benign tumor라고 하면 조금 공격받기 쉬운데 without suspicious malignancy 이런 식으로 조금 카테고리를 바꿔서 제목도 좀 정하시고 아마 분석을 그렇게 했다는 걸 보여주시는 게 어떨까 하는 게 두 번째 의견이고요. 세 번째는 이게 저희가 경우에 따라서 4cm 이상의 비나인 노드를 수술을 하더라도 비나인 노드 자체는 퍼머넌트에서 ADH든 어떤 비나인 튜머가 발견이 되지만 그 옆에 아주 스몰하게 예를 들어 언더 센티미터짜리 그 파피러리 캔서나 이런 여러 가지가 발견되는 경우들이 있습니다. 그런 데이터는 어떻게 처리하셨는지가 궁금증입니다. 네, 발표 감사합니다.
네, 교수님 말씀드리겠습니다. 먼저 첫 번째 질문 그래서 이제 비나인일지라도 수술을 했던 경우에는 보통 제가 이게 레트로스펙티브로 그 외래 채팅창을 보고 이제 판단할 수밖에 없었었는데 아무래도 저기 기관의 성격상 이제 환자분들 중에는 10년 넘게 이제 팔로우 하던 분들도 계셨고 대개는 이제 그 전에 인터벌을 이제 1년에서 2년 정도 비나인 사이로이드 노드이 있는 경우에 이제 외래에서 팔로우를 하고 있는데, 그중에 이제 사이로이드 그 크기나 이제 그 소노상에서 이제 음향의 차이의 변화가 보였던 경우에 환자분하고 상의를 해서 이제 수술했던 경우들도 있었고요. 일부 이제 특히 토탈했던 경우에는 이제 그레이브스 디지즈를 동반된 환자분들이라던가 양쪽에 이제 멀티너블러 고이터 같이 동반되어 있는 분들 중에서 이제 수술했던 케이스들도 있었었습니다. 그래서 대개는 인터벌 체인지를 보이거나 이제 환자분이 특별히 불편한 증상이 있는 경우에 이제 비나인이라도 수술을 권고하게 되었었습니다. 두 번째 질문에서는 코멘트 감사드립니다, 교수님. 저희가 참작해서 그렇게 수정하도록 하겠습니다. 그리고 세 번째 질문이 죄송합니다, 교수님. 제가 긴장이 돼서 세 번째
네, 두 번째까지 감사드리고요. 세 번째는 저희가 보통 비나인을 수술했을 경우에 비나인은 라지 튜머 자체는 비나인 패솔로지가 나오는데 그 옆에 인시덴탈로마로 언더 센티미터의 PTC나 다른 멜리그런시가 발견이 되는 경우들이 종종 있거든요. 그래서 그런 데이터는 어떤 식으로 분류를 하거나 처리를 하셨는지가 궁금증입니다.
사실 스터디 목적 자체를 이제 인터미디에이트 이하로 나왔을 때 수술을 해야 되냐 말아야 되냐로 이제 디시전 메이킹 자체에다 초점을 두고 하려고 했었기 때문에 우선은 이제 소노상에서 4cm 이상으로 보였던 결절에 먼저 포커스를 뒀었고요. 수술 전에 이제 소노상에서 다른 동반된 부분에서 프로분 말리그런시가 작은 결절에서라도 다른 부분에 있었다고 하면 현재 데이터에서는 그 케이스들은 제외를 시켰었고, 이제 인시던탈하게 이제 수술 후에 이제 나왔던 경우에는 일단은 저기 데이터를 따로 현재 추가로 분류를 멀티플리시트나 이제 발레타리티로 따로 이제 표에 부과시키진 않았는데, 해당된 케이스는 일단 라지 노듈에 대해서만 우선 기점을 해서 나눴기 때문에 수술 후에 인시던탈로 이제 발견됐던 경우는 따로 그걸로 익스클루전 하지 않았습니다, 교수님.
네, 감사합니다.
남견인데요. 예, 발표 잘 들었습니다. 저기 제목을 수술을 하지 않으면 안 해도 된다 이런 뉘앙스로 지금 발표를 하셨고, 네, 결론은 수술을 해야지만 지금 비나인일 때 38%, 어스나 플러스일 때 55% 캔서 인시던스로 기존 보고보다 파격적으로 높게 나왔거든요.
네, 교수님.
그래서 원래 비나인 라지고이터 수술하면 되게 10%에서 암이 나온다고 지금 교과서적으로 되어 있고요. 그래서 비나인 그룹에서는 저희 병원에 아마 수년간 다녔던 환자들일 것이고 FNAB를 이미 수차례 했던 환자들이 많을 겁니다. 그래서 한 번 비나인 나왔다고 비나인으로 집어넣으면 안 되고 서너 번 했는데 한 번이라도 어스나 플러스가 나오면 인터메디트 그룹으로 다시 바꿔야 되고요. 비나인의 38%가 캔서 좀 많이 나온 겁니다. 그래서 그쪽을 좀 데이터 리파이닝을 좀 하셔야 될 것 같고, 그리고 저희가 비교적 300 몇십 개의 라지 데이터를 갖게 된 거는 비나인 4cm 이상일 때 무조건 대부분 서저리를 했기 때문에 라지 데이터가 모인 겁니다. 그런 후향적인 연구의 성격을 먼저 밝혀두시는 게 좋을 것 같고, 그러한 점을 지적해 봅니다.
네, 감사합니다, 교수님.
정종준입니다. 저도 한 가지 코멘트를 좀 드리자면요. 지금 AT 가이드라인에서 4cm 넘으면 이제 토탈을 이제 권고하고 있는데 이제 4cm 넘는 비나인 노듈에서 사이톨로지에서 이제 해서 캔서가 나왔을 때 그 캔서 나온 환자를 이제 컴프리션을 들어갈 건지 이제 옵저베이션을 해야 될 건지에 대해서 그것도 좀 생각을 해서 더 추가를 하면 더 좋은 논문이 될 것 같습니다. 이상입니다.
감사드립니다, 교수님.
네, 추가 코멘트나 질문 없으시면 다음 발표자 이강희 선생님 발표로 이어지겠습니다.